Hey everybody, this is Geneva of Geneva's Closet Talk Show. Please make sure you like and share this video and subscribe to Geneva's Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube. And you can follow me on Facebook at what? At Geneva's Closet. And you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. Now let's get into the news. How y'all doing, everybody? Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a fabulous, wonderful Tuesday. I'm going on earlier than I would usually. It is like almost 1 o'clock here, my time, Las Vegas time. And I am here with Miss Essie Berry while we will be talking about this whole Aretha Franklin thing. But Miss Berry gonna be coming on later on in the show, but she is here right now just to say hey to the people.
Hey y'all, let's get into it.
Yes, but she'll be coming on later to discuss this. But I do want to bring up this comment. So right now, I already see a comment that was just sitting on here before I even got started from Linda Venable that says that has nothing to do with you or anyone else. You should be ashamed of yourself. And my comment to Linda is, Linda, it was in the movie, boo. What you talking about? I'm only talking about the movie. I'm only talking about the movie. They shouldn't have put it in the movie. And because there was some things very questionable about that movie, look, I don't know if you all watched the movie Respect. Did you watch the movie Respect? Wait a minute. Let me get my screen and stuff together. People, bear with me here because I'm trying to do a lot of things at once. So bear with me. But, wait a minute. Here we go. We about to get this on and popping. Yeah. Did y'all watch the movie Respect with Jennifer Hudson? Did you see that movie? Now, what did you think of that movie? On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being fabulous, 5 being it's all right, what would you have given the movie? I'd give it a 5. I think it was all right. And it really has nothing to do with Jennifer Hudson because I actually love Jennifer Hudson as an actress. I really do. We already know she can act. Don't you remember that role that she did on, what was her name? Effie on Dreamgirls? Was it Effie? I think her name was Effie. On Dreamgirls, she played that role. That's why she won that award, that Oscar, Grammy, or the Emmy, or whatever she won, because she played that role. But it was something about this movie, for me, it like literally dragged. Now, I just probably watched it maybe about a week and a half ago, and I thought the movie, I don't know. Mid-movie, people, I have to be honest. Mid-movie, I had already took out my phone and started researching some stuff because I'm looking like, what? First thing is first, so we just gonna get right into it. Okay. So if you didn't watch the movie, spoiler alert, because we're definitely going to be talking about some things into it, and then I done did a little bit of research and whatever. Y'all know how I am. So I'm going to add to whatever, okay? So in the movie, okay, so Jennifer Hudson, which she, first of all, the role was very passive. She was very quiet. She didn't say a whole lot. And I think that was the first thing that caught my attention. I'm like, is she going to say something? Because we already know Jennifer Hudson can sing. So she sung the bejeebus. That's why Aretha Franklin chose her to play this role, because Aretha Franklin already know that Jennifer Hudson can sing. So that wasn't the problem. It was the whole acting part. But then I was like, okay, because she really didn't say too much. She was kind of quiet. Like I said, very, very passive. So I thought, well, maybe that has a lot to do with, maybe that is just the person that Anita Baker was back then. She was just a very quiet person. I was waiting for Jennifer Hudson / Anita, Aretha Franklin's part to just say a little bit more, and I didn't feel like that was going on. Okay, so anyway, so then the part came up where we seen that Aretha Franklin had gotten molested, or at least we assumed she did, because remember, she was 12 years, well, matter of fact, I don't even know if we had an age, but she was in the room, and then the guy came in the room, and then we didn't see no more about that. Then the next thing we know, it was a part with her mother, and then her mother had told her, remember she went over to her mother's house, and her mother had told her, don't you let anybody do anything with your voice, because this is your voice, and don't let your father overpower your voice or whatever, okay? Right, didn't he say that, like, don't let him take over your voice? Okay, so then her mother died. Okay, so then after her mother died, she didn't speak anymore. And then her father was like, oh no, you gonna sing. So I'm thinking, now this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking based off of what her mother said, that maybe something was gonna come up where then she wasn't gonna sing no more. She was gonna be like, you know what, I am done singing. But then that ain't even what happened. So then she got on the stage and then she was singing, and singing. And then the camera went around and she wasn't the little girl anymore. She was grown Jennifer Hudson. So I'm still, grown Jennifer Hudson, Aretha Franklin. So I'm still trying to figure out, so did she get molested or whatever happened? Okay, so whatever. So now she's grown. So now something happens and then they shows us that she's on tour with her father. I'm like, oh, okay, so she's touring with her father now. Okay, well then that's fabulous. Okay, whatever, she's touring. Then the next thing I know, they come back from the tour and 2 children run out. I said, Edge, where did these kids come from? Where in the hell? And then it was 2 of them. 2 boys ran out. So the first thing I'm thinking is, so is the kids the product of the guy that came in her room and molested her? Even though her and her father's relationship was kind of like questionable too in that movie. Was it not questionable? Okay. So then I think another part that kind of got me was, okay, so now there's 2 kids, but then we seen that the grandmother was raising the children. So I'm like, oh, okay, so she's not even raising her kids. Okay, so is this something like with her mom? Because based on the movie, her mom wasn't raising them. The mom, Aretha Franklin, and her sisters in the movie, because I don't even think I remember seeing a brother, but her and her sisters lived with the dad, C.L. Franklin. What is this? Carl Levine Franklin. That's what they was living with. So I'm like, oh, okay, so her kids is with the grandmother. Okay, so whatever. So now they're at the backyard party. Remember the backyard barbecue? The backyard party. And then Marlon Wayans, who ended up being later on the abusive husband of Aretha Franklin, which was the Ted White man. He come up to Aretha walk over there. I'm like, okay, Aretha, Jennifer Hudson. She walk over there, and then he trying to holler. And then the father come up, who played as Forrest Whitaker. Did the father not come up? Wait a minute, let me get my pictures and stuff together. So then the father pops up, who played as Forrest Whitaker, and he like, you're not going to be talking to my daughter, you better leave her alone. And I'm looking like, why is he snapping? She already got 2 children. I mean, so what is it ain't like you trying to save her from having kids and her musical career, because she already got 2 children, which I don't even know where these kids came from. So then later on in the movie, now, mind you, I don't even know an age yet. They haven't really said an age that I can remember. So now I don't know if her and Marlon Wayans, whatever, I don't know if they were married or whatever had happened. But now there's a birthday, and it's Aretha Franklin's birthday, and then it's the cake there, and the numbers on the cake said 25. When them numbers on them cakes said 25, I said, okay, something is off. They're not telling us the whole story. Because I'm like, if she's 25, she's only 25, them kids look kind of big. They didn't look like they was like 2, 3 years old. So how old was she when she had the kids? And that is probably damn near where I kind of didn't fully watch the movie anymore, because I swear to you, I pulled out my phone and I started researching, and I found what I got out of my phone was better. The research that I found was actually better than the movie. So anyway, it says, so I'm reading all articles here. This is an article that says, let me go through some of these pictures. That says, this is coming from The Sun. Preacher dad runs sex circus at church. Now, this is talking about her father. We are talking about C.L. Franklin. Lord, can I stop having stuff pop up? We are talking about Carl Levine Franklin, born January 22nd, 1915 in Mississippi, died July 27th, 1984 in Detroit, Michigan. Okay? The whole family damn near comes from Detroit, Michigan, people. It says a 2014 biography by David Ritz named Respect 2014, Respect, detailed Aretha's colorful childhood in Detroit. Now, I didn't know these things, okay? When all of these things was going on with Aretha, I probably wasn't even born, okay, people, or I was a baby. So this is why I am very interested, because I didn't even know Aretha had 4 kids by 4 different men, or so they say. I didn't even know all of this stuff, that she had been molested, and like I had no idea. It says her father, Clarence C.L. Lewis, was renowned as a promiscuous gospel preacher at the Bethel Baptist Church where he was a minister. Now, we did see a little bit of that in the movie at the beginning. Remember, everybody was in there kicking it in the movie. And what part? Now, who did Mary J. Blige play as? Did she play as Mahalia Jackson? So we seen that, because I think it was even like some gay stuff going on in the house, but still didn't fully know what was going. Anyway, it says providing far more than sermons at the gathering. I'm telling you what it says. It says, in fact, orgies were so common that fellow singer Ray Charles labeled the church a sex circus. Did y'all know that? I said Ray said that. Ray would know. You know, we seen that movie. He would know. At just 12, Aretha Franklin fell pregnant by a school friend called Donald Dirk. So now we already got a first name, people. Okay? We got a first name. We have a first name of Donald Dirk. Donald Burke. Aretha gave birth just 2 months before her 13th birthday to a baby boy she named Clarence after her father, who was the first of 2 babies she would have before the age of, this say 15, but I thought it was 16, that she had Clarence, her oldest son, Clarence Franklin, in 1955 when she was 12 years old. And then 2 years later, because they said 12, 15, when she was, they said, I thought it was 16, it was 15. She had Edward Duran, if I'm saying that correctly, Franklin, born January 22nd, 1957. It says the second Edward was named after his father, a local friend. Mother did Aretha Burke going to, after an early age, she harbored ambitions to become a famous pop singer, and leaving grandmother Rachel and sister Emma. Remember the grandmother? Okay, let's go to the grandmother. Let's find the grandmother. Wait a minute, I got the grandmother down here. Remember the grandmother in the movie? There she go right there. We got the grandmother. Grandmother Rachel, that was her name, Rachel, left Rachel and Irma, which is her oldest sister, to raise the children. Now, who is Irma? Here go Irma right here. Irma is the first one with the hair like this, and then Aretha in the middle. And then we have, what is her youngest, what is the other sister name? The youngest sister name was Carolyn. Now, let me read you this article that came from bustle.com. It says, now we're talking about Irma now, okay, the oldest sister. Irma married young and had her first child, one of 2, at age 16. So now we're talking about a pastor preacher who, for some reason, he has custody of his kids, and Aretha have a baby at 12, okay, and his oldest then had one of 2 by the age of 16. She was also part of the extended family that helped care for Aretha's children. It says in Davis Ritt's 2015 biography, Respect the Life of Aretha Franklin, Irma said, this is what Irma said, it was understood that our babies would be welcomed into the world and cared for with limitless love. It was also understood that our future as women, our education, and our career would not be compromised because of these early births. She added, Daddy recognized our ambition as a psychological force we had inherited from him. We did everything in his power to encourage that ambition. No, he did everything in his power to encourage that ambition. He did not see his daughters as housewives. He saw us as stars, and that's how we saw ourselves. So that's what she said, that, that it wasn't for them to take care of the kids, that they were supposed to be stars, and then that's basically how that was supposed to go. So now we are going to get, and then you know what else I found interesting? Let's go back to the grandmother. Remember the grandmother, Rachel? So it says that Rachel, so we're going to go to the grandmother. Rachel married Henry Franklin. Now, matter of fact, let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to Aretha Franklin's father, C.L. Franklin, the Reverend C.L. Franklin. His mother name was Rachel Walker, and his father name was Willie Walker, okay? Well, basically, C.L. Franklin said that he never really seen his father. So whatever happened between Willie Walker and Miss Rachel Walker over here, I guess they got a divorce. I don't even know. But then she ended up marrying another man by the name of Henry Franklin, okay? In 1921, when C.L. Franklin was 5 years old, his dad left in 1920 when he was 4 years old. Rachel was 20 at the time, and Henry was 39. And yeah, that's where the whole Franklin last name came from. So really, it should be Aretha Louise Walker. That's really what it should be. Welcoming to the stage, Aretha Louise Walker. So that's why. So really, the Walker last name is not biologically her family's last name. They took on that name because the grandmother married a man by the name of Franklin, and I guess he adopted C.L. Franklin, which is the apple don't fall too far from the tree, because isn't that kind of what happened with him and Aretha Franklin's mom? So now let's go to Aretha Franklin's mother by the name of Barbara. Here we go. We got her right here. And her name was Barbara Vernice Siggers. Siggers being her maiden name. Franklin, born June 29th, 1917 in Shelby, Mississippi. Died March 7th, 1952 in Buffalo, New York at the age of 34 from a heart attack. Well, based on that story, so she already had a child when she came into the marriage. She already had a child. So matter of fact, here go her headstone. That's Barbara S. Franklin. This is Aretha Franklin's mother headstone. But when she came into their marriage, she already had a child. And let's find this child that I just found yesterday. I just found pictures of him yesterday. And here go the picture of him right here. This is the child. So this is Aretha Franklin's half brother by the name of, shoot, let me get my stuff together, people. Half brother by the name of Von. That is his name. His name is Von Franklin. Matter of fact, let me find his headstone. His headstone is, here we go, Von Kavanaugh Franklin. So now let me get into that story. Let me find that one. Let me find the story where Von Kavanaugh Franklin. So let me just see if I can remember off the top of the dome. So when she got with, did I write it down? I did write it down. When she got with, okay, so C.L. Franklin, the Reverend, was born in 1915. She was born in 1917. They're only 2 years apart. She got married and had a baby by the age of 16, if I'm not mistaken. And in 1934, she had Vine. And then in 1936, she married C.L. Franklin. 1936, she married C.L. Franklin. Then in 1938, she had Irma, the oldest child. She had Irma in 1938. And then in 1940, just 2 years later, 4 years after they got married, who was born? Who was born at that time? Let me find a picture. Here she go. This is Aretha Franklin's sister that her father had by somebody else. Okay, so let me find that article. Let me find, is this one it right here? Is this it? Is this it? Growing up, this is by Inquisitor.com. Growing up as the daughter of a Baptist minister, the late Aretha Franklin was heavily inspired by gospel music. She was, while she lived a glamorous life as the Queen of Soul, Franklin also had what was described as a difficult childhood, as she already had 2 children by the age of 15 and had a supposedly turbulent relationship with her first husband and one-time manager. And as her official biography further alleged, Aretha's father, Clarence C.L. Franklin, had some secrets of his own in the form of the wild orgies he held at his church. Citing the pages of David Ritt's 2014 Aretha Franklin, 2014 or 15, I'm getting 2 different years, called Respect. It says some of the biggest names in R&B and soul had witnessed or taken part in the orgies that were allegedly organized by the elder Franklin. It says the late Ray Charles, who co-wrote the autobiography Brother Ray and Ritz, was one of those well-known names, as he told the author about the supposed orgies were so wild that even he himself was shocked by them. When it came to pure sex, this is what he said, when it came to pure sex, they were wilder than me. And that's saying something. In those days, I had a thing for orgies, but I had to be the only cat in the room with 2 or 3 chicks. Charles also suggested that the orgies included a lot of homosexual activity between gospel people, a claim that was seconded by another departed musical legend, Billy Preston, who recalled a wide open vibe when these alleged activities took place. This is what he said. It was anything goes. In the community outside the church, gay men were called sissies. But inside the church, a lot of the music was created by the gay men. I said, really? As further noted by the Mirror, Aretha Franklin had a close relationship with her father, which might have contributed to how the Queen of Soul was introduced to adulthood at an early point in her life. While she was only 12 years old when she allegedly had a relationship with soul legend singer Sam Cooke, we'll get into that a little bit later, who was 23 years old. Donald Burke reportedly fathered, who people said fathered her first child. Okay? So that's why I'm asking who daddy. Because look, y'all tell me, for the people that's older than me, that's in your 50s, 60s, or remember back then, what was the rumors? Because we got Donald Burke over here, but I heard, based on this, that people back in the day thought it was Sam Cooke, okay? Franklin also had 3 other sons, Edward Ted Jr. and Keekow? I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Who was married twice, whatever. David Ritz, there's something else I was about to say about that I didn't even get into. But let me find it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. We're about to do it. We're about to read it. It says, Aretha family was priority base, the million. Franklin's father, let's go to the father, was the man with the $1 million voice, a very popular preacher and singer who was known for organizing the 1963 Walks of Freedom in Detroit with Martin Luther King Jr. He was the first preacher to join the gospel tour in 1953, and he formed his own group, C.O. Franklin's Gospel Caravan, that Aretha sometimes sang in. And he recorded dozens of his sermons and made a reported 4,000 per appearance at home in Detroit. He hosted noted singers and musicians for jam sessions. And it says that in June 1946, he became pastor of the New Bethel Baptist Church. But before that, he was a pastor in Memphis, Tennessee. While there, he had a child with a 12-year-old member of his congregation when he was 25 years old. He was not punished for his actions. While Mildred Jennings, I just thought that was sad. I don't give a damn what anybody say about me talking about the story. Sad is sad. Is it not? It's not sad. It's not sad. But Mildred Jennings, the 12-year-old, was separated from her baby. There go the baby. Here go the child. Today, she passed away, was separated from her child, from her baby, and sent to live with relatives, okay? Carl Ellen Kelly, the child, was raised by her grandmother and died in 2019. Okay, now I just thought that was sad, because then when you go look up her, okay, you know what, let's just look this up together, people. So now we're gonna just look this up together. So Carl Ellen, wait a minute, there, I just seen it, Ellan Kelly. Okay, now let's go to her Find a Grave. Okay, there go to Find a Grave. Okay, do y'all see this? She even got a headstone, and she's buried with her daughter. She even got a headstone. I mean, how sad is that? In the movie, she wasn't even mentioned. In the pictures with the children, she's not even there. So what did so why was she separated Anyway, Carl Ellen Franklin Kelly, age 78, passed away January 29th. She was born November 17th, 1940, in Memphis, Tennessee, to Mildred Jennings and Reverend C.L. Franklin. She was raised by her grandma, Mrs. Cornelius Mayo Hill Berry. She is preceded in death by her parents and her siblings. But when I went to do a little research on her, what did I read? I read something where it said, let me see if I can find it, that she had kids. I don't know. It seems as if her life didn't go well. You know what I mean? Like she was separated from her mother, and based on my research, the mother passed away. Her mother, Mildred Jennings, based on the research, and I can't even figure out where I found that from. But, I think it said that she was married 3 times and had 2-3 kids or something, because she had a daughter, and we seen that the daughter passed away because they don't even have a headstone. But what I did not mention was, it says Aretha Franklin would say that she was going to give her sister $50,000 in one of her drafted wills. Well, I don't know if the sister ever got the $50,000, because then Aretha passed away in 2018 and her sister passed away in 2019. So I don't even know. I just thought that was very sad. But anyway, now let me go on to, what I want to read? Let's read this Sam Cooke situation. Let's read about the Sam Cooke situation right quick. So now we got Aretha Franklin and Sam Cooke. Now, where's that picture that I found of them two together? Boom! Let me ask y'all something. Did y'all know that song that Sam Cooke made? Darling, you send me. Darling, you send me. The honest you do. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Y'all know, I heard that he made that song about Aretha when she was 12. Really, Sam? Oh my God. Anyway, let me just get into this right quick. It says, Ray Charles and the Sam and the Cooke. Aretha Franklin's voice may be deeply familiar with millions, but her origin story is lesser known, and that was by the Queen of Soul's design, when the singer-songwriter commissioned a memoir in 1999 from these roots. It's largely glossed over traumatic milestones in the performer's life, including the death of Aretha's mother when the singer was only 10, Aretha's pregnancy at 12 years old, her first marriage, and her alleged battles with alcohol. Let me see, about 15 years. Aretha, Gloves, Bloody, Franklin, let me find it. Her parents split. You never know from Franklin's account of her childhood, but the singer-songwriter's parents had a complicated marriage. Aretha's father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, was a nationally known Baptist preacher and civil rights. He sure was. And Aretha's half-brother, Vaughn, yep, she already had a child. In 1948, yep, when Aretha was 6, that is true. And a milestone, let me get to her mother. That's not it. I wanted to read her first, okay. Wait a minute. I think I screenshotted it somewhere. Shotted it. Let me see. 12. And did y'all know that Ted White was a pimp? Why we're just at it, like why I'm trying to find it? I didn't know that he was a pimp. And Aretha had already. Okay, as CL biographer Nick Salvatore wrote in Singing in a Strange Land, CL's inclusion of his daughter, a vulnerable woman child, on the tour all but demanded that she grow up fast. In that intensely emotional, sexually charged adult context, she was at once a starstruck kid, a mother still discovering the meaning of those emotions, and an attractive female with a young teenager's profoundly uneven self-confidence. Her very presence unavoidably exposed her to experiences well beyond her years. According to Ritz, Aretha told him that when she was 12, she went back to then 23-year-old Sam Cooke's motel room with him. When Aretha was 14, she became pregnant again, eventually having a second son named Eddie. Like Clarence, Eddie was also given Aretha's last name and raised primarily with Aretha's grandmother. In her memoir, Aretha said her preacher father was fine with this pregnancy too. He was fine with the pregnancy. See, y'all can't say that something ain't weird there. Something who's okay with that? Like, what father is okay with their daughter having sex at 12? That's what make you think that, you know what, there's more to this story. Anyway, where is the rest of this that I had said about, you know what, forget it. We're going to do it this way. We're going to just Google it. Why not? Why we're not on here? Aretha Franklin and Sam Cooke, You Send Me. How come we just can't go to You Send Me? You Send Me, Wikipedia, the printing. So, can we go to this one? Nope, can't go to that one. And so, pregnant 12 for a kid. Whatever, it doesn't even matter. I can't even find it right now. But I read that he made that song, You Send Me, for Aretha Franklin, and that they started messing around at 12 years old, and then reportedly people questioned when she got pregnant at 12, they thought it was Sam Cooke's child. They literally thought that she was pregnant by Sam Cooke. I mean, like, how crazy is that? Now let's get to the man Ted White, the man that they had in the movie that played by Marlon Wayans that was beating on her. I didn't even know that he was a pimp. Did they say that he was a pimp in the movie? I didn't know that he was a pimp. But, okay, where is it I have it? They said he was a pimp. Ted White. Because Mahalia Jackson said, what did Mahalia Jackson say? She said, the time of release, Mahalia Jackson said, okay, let me go back. It says, not long after releasing her first album in 1961, Franklin met Ted White at a Detroit club called 20 Grand. Her sister Irma, the oldest sister, knew him, and she also told me he considered me amongst the most beautiful women in the world. That's what Franklin wrote in her memoir. That seemed to be kind of the attention Aretha Franklin craved. She fooled around and got with a man like Ted White, but that's the kind of dude Aretha likes. The dude that Fowl's Fancy singer Mavis Staples told Vanity Fair. Now we got Mavis Staples giving her opinion about the whole thing. But Franklin's inner circle was not so fond of him. Aretha's brother said their father, Reverend C.L. Franklin, knew Ted was something of a shady character and thought the association would hurt Aretha. Producer Harvey wrote harsher words. Anyone who didn't see Ted White as a straight-up pimp had to be deaf, dumb, and blind, he said. It took someone that slick to get a great talent like Aretha in his stable. Now, what in the where was that part that Mahalia? Here we go. Mahalia. It says, while Aretha Franklin herself never directly addressed the dark side of her relationship, one of the first signs of trouble emerged in a 1968 Time story that said White had roughed her up in public at Atlanta's Regency Hyatt Hotel. While there weren't further details, it did go on to say it was not the first such incident. The story described White as a former dabbler in Detroit real estate and a street corner wheeler dealer who had come a long way since he married Aretha and took over the management of her career. Even gospel great Mahalia Jackson wrote out in the article saying, I don't think she's happy. Somebody else is making her sing the blues. So, because I read somewhere that he was using the money as a pimp to help fund Aretha's singing career. I said, Rich, did Reverend C.L. Franklin know this? It's like, did he know that his daughter had married a pimp? But he was probably okay with that too, like he was with the first two kids. Oh, Dios míos. I was just like, look, it's just too much. It's just too much. But wait a minute, we're not done. Let's go to this article right here that I found to be very interesting after the whole Sam Cooke thing. It says Sam Cooke's brother, Charles, is shot in Detroit. Now, in this picture, it has Aretha Franklin, Ted White, the abusive husband, and Sam Cooke's brother. Now, this is after Sam Cooke has already died, okay? It says Detroit police, and I think this was 1964, 5, 8, something like that, in the 60s. Detroit police were investigating the early morning shooting of Charles Cooke, 42, brother of slain singer Sam Cooke. Police said Cooke, a guest at the house of soul queen Aretha Franklin, was shot in the groin following an altercation with Miss Franklin's estranged husband, Theodore Ted White, 38. White told Jet, "I have a right to go to my home." He also told Jet exclusively that he talked with Miss Franklin by phone earlier that evening and then paid a call to the comfortable Northwest Side home, a home he says I bought but haven't visited, but twice in the past 2 years we have been apart. White said he asked everyone to leave the room so he could talk privately with Miss Franklin. Did you want to hit her? That's why didn't nobody want to leave. And everyone but Cooke. Cooke said, you got a history. But Cooke and another man complied with his directive. But Cooke felt he had to protect Aretha like I was some kind of gorilla or something, White said, adding he even went upstairs and asked Aunt Rachel. Who is Aunt Rachel? Franklin, Miss Franklin's I was about to say Aunt Rachel. Oh, he called Aretha's grandmother, whatever. Okay, whatever. To come down and request they leave. And when she refused, White said he shoved Cooke out the room. When Cooke returned, White shot him. Cooke was in fair condition at New Grace Hospital after undergoing emergency surgery. Miss Franklin was questioned by police at the 12th precinct and released after giving a statement. I said, shit. She got the issues with the men, don't she? So wait a minute. So let me try to get this straight in my mind. So back in the day, she had a relationship with Sam Cooke when she was 12 years old, and this grown man. So now we see that R. Kelly isn't the only one. Okay, let's not play a game. He was 23 years old. This man fell so head over heels for Aretha Franklin at 12, 13 years old that he goes back and make Darling You. And at first I thought it was an infatuation. Oh, you thought you was infatuated with the 12-year-old and then you fell in love? Whatever. But wait a minute. Did I tell y'all that Ted White met Aretha at 12 years old? Now, that ain't when he married her. Did they get married at 18, 21? Whatever. But I read in the article that he met her at 12 years old. I said, what in the... So, poor baby. And then, so I go to the baby part of it. Like she was innocent. 12 years old, you're innocent. You need somebody to protect you. And her father did a horrible job. But, and then I just want to clarify this because Aretha said that she want to clarify this. For anybody who watched that movie and said that her mother did not raise them and her mother just dumped them off, she said that is not true. Aretha said that my mother did come pick us up on weekends and on summer vacations and stuff, and me and my siblings went to Buffalo, New York. That's what she said, that she did spend time with her family. She don't want to get anything misconstrued with this movie or whatever. So, what else was I going to say? Oh, right, we're still talking about the kids and who the daddy. So now we're going to go to the will, right? Okay, so now there's a will when Aretha Franklin passed away. So now let me go to the will. And Aretha's will, the hell, her sons. Let me see, where did I put the will at? Aretha's estate. Let's go to the estate. Let's go to Miss Aretha Franklin's estate. Let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about that. Because Aretha Franklin's estate information is pretty interesting, because not only do the estate information mention about her sister, her half sister, the sister by Mildred Jennings, and her father, the 12-year-old from the congregation. It mentions her sister. It mentions the father of her first child, Clarence, even though we already said that the first child, she said it was Donald Burke. but it gives another name in there. And it also gives a little bit more details into the first child, which I found a little bit interesting. So now let me see, can I get to the interesting part of this? That Aretha changed her will around a few times. That she did. And okay, so let's read this. While Prince's estate seemed, was all over the place, Franklin's will accounts for her sons. According to the New York Times, two of them. Now, let me show the picture of her sons. Let's go to her sons. The children. Let's go to the children. We're going to go with this picture because at least it got the names on here. Okay. It says 2014. Key Calf. If I'm saying that correctly. Matter of fact, let me find another picture of him. Key Calf, which I'm probably not even. There you go. That's him. Okay. Key Calf and Edward. Now let me go back to the other picture because I get confused on which one is Edward. And Edward, which was the second child, favor abiding by the 2014 will, while Teddy and Clarence don't. Eldest child Clarence, whom Aretha had when she was 12 years old, is the only son not to receive one of her 3 houses in the will, leaving him out of money his brothers would gain from their sale. Now, I just found that to be a little bit interesting myself, but I'll explain later. It's unclear why Franklin left Clarence. Why did she leave Clarence? Why would she do that to the oldest? Why would she leave Clarence out of any financial gains from the homes? But it is apparent why she didn't leave him a house because of unspecified special needs. The 64-year-old lives in Detroit group home, while 2014 will says his brothers and other representatives of the estate are to look after him. The 2010 version is more specific, giving Clarence $150 per week and leaving instructions to provide him with seasonal clothing. Franklin also included a note to herself to transfer guardianship of Clarence to her niece, Sabrina Owens. Okay? Now let that sit in there for a minute. Just let that sit in there. That out of all of her sons, the oldest one, Clarence, he just happened to have a special need. Not saying that it's a coincidence or anything. You know how they say the incest thing, that you may have a child with I'm just throwing some stuff out. Because I don't know what happened. He could have been fine at first, and then something happened later on. I don't know. I'm just throwing scenarios out there. You catch it if you want to. But that is her oldest son at her funeral. The oldest son, Clarence. Okay, now we're going to get into some other stuff right quick. While surprised in the 2010 will is Franklin's naming of Edward Jordan Sr. Okay, let's go back to the children. Edward Jordan Sr. Okay, it says as Clarence's father. But wait a minute, Geneva, I thought you said Aretha had named Donald Burke when she was 12 years old. I'm assuming that she had said it's Donald. Had told everybody it was Donald, right? But no, it says in 2010, will Franklin named Edward Jordan Sr. That's her second son, Edward's father. Now, the one that she had at 15, the one that she had at 12, 14, that was his father. But she said he was already known as the father of her second son, Edward, but many had speculated that Clarence's father was Franklin's school friend, Donald Burke. Either way, Franklin stipulated that Jordan should never receive or handle any money or property belonging to Franklin because he has never made any contribution to Clarence's welfare, future or past. She underlined never for emphasis. Now, I think that it's a reason why it's in the will. Now, I just have to say that. Now, we can say this, that we may not have known that Donald Burke was not Clarence's father, but maybe she told Clarence that, and Clarence already knew that his brother Edward and him both had the same father, Edward Sr.? But obviously not, because why the hell is it in the will? She wanted someone to know in the will. She was specifying that for the family. She wasn't specifying that for us. She wanted the family to know. She wanted the kids to know. So yeah, so why did it change? I mean, like what happened with the Donald guy that now all of a sudden it was Edward Jordan Sr.? I don't know. But instead of, like, matter of fact, where's the will at? Because I screenshotted the will. Matter of fact, here go this one. Now, which was the one that names? Right, because I don't know what, yeah, but isn't that cool? Like, this is an actual writing from the will. To whom it may concern, 3/31/2014. She said, being of sound mind and something. I don't even know what she said. Edward Franklin to live in or self. Oh, so this must be the one where she was speaking about her son. But yeah, so now we have okay. People thought it was her father because her father was already sitting up there sleeping around with 12-year-old. He cheated on his wife. And had a baby with a 12-year-old. Why are you in the congregation? So you had your daughter with the 12-year-old in 1940, and then had Cecil, because did you know that there was a son? Because I don't even know if the son was mentioned in the movie, because in the movie I just remember Aretha Franklin and the two sisters. But no, there is a son. So it was Irma first, and then not mentioning the sister by the daughter by the 12-year-old. First it was Irma, then it was Cecil, then it was Aretha, and then it was her sister Franklin. Now, where is Cecil, you may ask? She's like, who the hell is Cecil? I ain't even heard nothing about no Cecil. Where is Mr. Cecil at? Her brother Cecil is right. Well, if I can find it, I think it's at the top. Her brother is, because there's a picture with him walking her down. There we go. This is her brother Cecil. Is that the only picture I got of him? There we go. That's her brother Cecil. So Cecil was born in 1940. So you mean to tell me that he had both of them pregnant at the same time? Because if I'm not mistaken, didn't I say that, did I say her birthday was in January? I don't even know. So he had both of them pregnant. He had the 12-year-old and Barbara, Aretha Franklin's mother, pregnant at the same time, had both of them in 1940. Then, so the mother stayed with him, of course. So after the cheating of the 12-year-old and having a baby, Barbara, Aretha Franklin's mom, did stay because 2 years later, she had Aretha. And then 2 years later after that, she had Carolyn. And then somewhere there, she got sick of it, and she left in 1948 just 4 years after Carolyn was born. Barbara said, I'm about sick of this stuff already. She packed her stuff and went to Buffalo, New York. But they said that, what did it say? It said that Aretha, because I think Aretha was born in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think they went to Detroit or something, like she was 2 years old or something. And then they went to Buffalo, New York. They went there for a short amount of time. Then they came and went to Detroit, Michigan. And yeah, that's where they were at the whole time, in Detroit, Michigan. But it was also something else I was going to say. Look at this. Look how cool that is. Look at this. Isn't that cool? Like all of this throwback stuff. Like this little flyer thing with her and her dad on there. Cool. Y'all know I like antique or old stuff. Okay, now what else was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say something about her sisters. Because I don't really even feel like that her sister. And yes, she did have a child with Ted White. So as a matter of fact, let me go back to that right quick. So then she had Ted by the abusive husband that played as Marlon Wayans. She had Ted by him. Now here go Ted today. Ted is a guitar player. He plays the ding-da-da-ding-ding. He was doing that for his mama. That is him today. And when was Ted born? Ted was born in, yeah, that year he was born, basically, people, because I got to keep popping out too many papers. And then she had a child with, if I'm not mistaken, him. Now, who is this? Is this Cunningham man that she had the Key calf? The Key, I cannot get her son. Can I just call him Key just to keep it simpler? Now, Chad mentioned, my hubby mentioned that it was a guy that Aretha had got with after the husband in the movie that was really sweet to her, but she was being mean to him. Now, that part, I must have been too focused on my research that I completely missed that part. So I don't know if it was this husband who she had her fourth and youngest son with, which is him. And I heard that he's happily married right now, got 6 kids, doing his own thing. Oh, and did I mention that Aretha Franklin's brother Cecil was a pastor too? Yep, he was a pastor too. Now what was I saying? I was talking about him. Oh, I didn't know if it was him or if it was Glenn from a different world, because we all know that she married Glenn from a different world. And let me see. Now, did they show that in the movie? I don't even know if they showed that in the movie, that they had got together, but they didn't have any children together, and they were only married for a short time. And it was something else I was going to say. Oh, her sisters. I was going to talk about her sister, her youngest sister, who died from, well, both of her sisters died from breast cancer, but her youngest sister, Carolyn, died at the age of 43 from breast cancer. But what I found interesting about Carolyn is the songs and stuff that she made. It's that one particular song that she made that I have heard redone so many times, but I didn't know that she made it. But then I read an article that mentioned some other stuff about the sister. So let's talk about that right quick. Okay, now where's this sister? Where is this particular sister? This one. This is Miss Carolyn. Okay, now this is coming from The Guardian. The Guardian. Born in 1944, Carolyn Ann Franklin was the fourth of the last child of Barbara and Reverend Clarence Levon Franklin, who revered for his fusion of religious, whatever this word is, with civil rights rhetoric. Alrighty, don't want to read that part. She came up to me one day, Mary, I heard you could really good sing, Mary. It was some movie that she was supposed to be in that her father did not. While studying music at the University of Southern California, Carolyn spent time in New York with both her sisters, held recording contracts. She recorded a handful of songs under the alias Candy Carol, but found no success. By the late 1960s, she was back in Detroit, working at the post office and writing songs on the side. She grew closer to her fellow soul singer, Levette, who became instant friends, Levette says, and she said that they were good friends. Okay, Carolyn closely Aretha's career. Carolyn and Irma helped Aretha her career. They also sang backup vocals on future Aretha's hits, including Baby I Love You, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman, and Daydreaming. And Carol wrote the blues ballad Baby Baby and Gonna Turn Me Around. Ain't No Way took her songwriting to a, is that the song I was talking about? Ain't No Way took her songwriting to a higher plane. The song is a blues, Ain't No Way. That is the song. I'm telling you, write that song down, because I'm not going to play it. When we're done, Google search it, and you're going to be like, she made that song? Because when I listen to it, I'm like, I didn't know that song has been done so many times. But here go the interesting thing about that song. Let me get into it. Ain't No Way took her songwriting to a higher plane. The song is a bluesy and laminate of a plea for emotional. What? It ain't no way for me to give you all you need. It ain't no way for me to give you all you need if you won't let me give all of me. Carolyn's lyrics are housed in a stunning arrangement. No, I did know about that song, I think. Whatever. It is quite possibly soul music's finest ballad. Now, the song has attracted interest in light of Carolyn's sexuality. I said, not again. Now what? Now, what's wrong with Carolyn's sexuality? The Guardian, you saying? Let's see what they say. In her interviews with Aretha's person, David Ritz, Carolyn mentions in passing that her romantic preference went in an entirely different direction to that of her siblings. Ritz later confirmed that Carolyn's preference was for women. Oh, really? Everyone knew that back in the day, remarks Wilson. I asked Levette whether Carolyn, and remember Levette is her good friend, I asked Levette whether Carolyn was open about her sexuality. I don't think any of the Franklins were open about anything, Levette says, noting their father's status in the Baptist community. The prolific bassist Ralphie Armstrong, contends that Carolyn was in fact bisexual. I knew guys she used to date, he says. The Temptations, Otis Willings writes in his autobiography that he dated Carol briefly. The writer Andrew Martone, I'm going to read this just to say what he said. Y'all ain't finna play no music and mess my stuff up. Has advanced the theory that Ain't No Way is an undercover LGBT anthem. That's what he said. A coded address to a secret lesbian lover. He points to the lyrics. Stop trying to be someone you're not, as evidence of Carolyn urging her lover to embrace her closeted sexuality. Levette and Wilson are unsure, while Armstrong calls the theory bullshit. It's just a long song about having a broken heart. That's basically it. I said, wow, well, we wouldn't be surprised. Would we be surprised about that? So, okay, so let me give you my theory right quick. I was going to say something about the older sister, but, we'll get into it later. So let me just give my theory right quick. So we know that, poor baby, that Aretha Franklin probably, she was molested. They did a horrible job of kind of letting us know what was going on in the movie. So still, even with the Donald Burke guy that Aretha mentioned, why does she mention Donald Burke? So still, I'm still confused. Was Donald Burke the guy in the movie that came in the room that tried to molest her at 12, or he has nothing to do with anything? Is he the Edward Senior guy, the one by the second? No, because some people say that was a childhood friend, but they're saying that Aretha Franklin didn't really care about Donald Burke. She wasn't really a whatever of his, which was still interesting that you named him, told your son at least that was his name, his father, and then later on you mentioned the Edward guy. But then she named her oldest son Clarence after her father. Some would say, okay, what does that mean? You can do that. People name their children after their parents and stuff all the time. That doesn't mean anything. No, it doesn't. But, okay. 12 years old is just a little suspect. And your father already, obviously, dibble and dabble with the babies. 12 and 11-year-olds, obviously, because he did it before. So it doesn't, Okay? So, and then Sam Cooke. People, I read back in the day, people were really putting up pictures of Sam Cooke and Clarence trying to make comparisons. And I think Sam Cooke family or somebody said, no, there is no comparison. No, he did not have a baby with Aretha. Clarence is not his child. But who in the hell knew? And like I said, people even thought that the father could have been. So then we got Edward, because then she mentions Edward in her will. Okay. But my whole thing was, I was just so Clarence then has a disability. So I wondered, did that have anything to do with? There was an article that I read, which I think they said it in the movie too, that said that by the time, I think it was Aretha's manager, that said that by the time she got older, she started making up things in her mind about how she wanted her relationships to be, that she had been eating a lot, and she had been watching the soap operas, Young and the Restless, and she was watching that, and she was taking stuff from what she's seen on the stories on the soap operas, and she was kind of making her life that, as if she had beautiful relationships and that all of her relationships went well, and and they said they were kind of sitting back watching her and listening to her oh, okay, well, if you want to make up these stories and you want to tell them to the media, then fine, but we know what's really going on in the background and that you got some issues going on. Then we seen that she had to drink and stuff and whatever. So I thought that maybe there was a possibility that, I'm just throwing out a theory here, that she done came up with her own story about her child's father, because the real story just isn't a good story. You know what I mean? I mean, shit, if she done changed the name one time, it could, you know, like it could have been changed more. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what it was. I'm just throwing out some stuff. Maybe it was her daddy. And she don't like that's not a good story to tell. So she gave up this, so she said this name, but maybe the first guy she picked was just pitiful. And she was like, I don't like him. At least Edward, the guy that I got pregnant by when I was 15, Edward Jr.'s father, at least he's around. So maybe I can just give Clarence that father. Now, not to say that Edward is going to get anything ever, because you was never around for Clarence, because you didn't do anything for Clarence. But how could he if you never told him that was his child? But whatever. Yeah, so that's my whole theory on that. And then in the will too, like I said, she said she was gonna give her sister $50,000. I'm not even finna read it. Did she give her sister the $50,000? The fact that she even mentioned giving her sister $50,000, I think was sweet. Now, did she give it to her? I don't know, considering the fact that, like I told y'all, they don't even have a headstone. Like, there's no headstone. So I don't even know. The whole thing's just sad to me. I'm going to bring in Miss Berry, people. I am going to bring in Miss... Yes, aren't we just happy that Aretha... You know what? She had a hard life. You know, let's just keep it frank. Aretha Franklin, let's find Aretha face. For all the singing that she did, for all the blowing that this woman can do, she had a hard life. How unfortunate to be sitting up here and have to be raised by Mr. Carl Levine Franklin. Speaking of Carl Levine Franklin, you know what I mean? Y'all know how I am. I had went back a little bit into his mama's life, into Miss Rachel's life, because I found her a little bit interesting. So Miss Rachel, the grandmother, you knew your granddaughter had a grandchild at 12? So nobody in the household is just like, this stuff is crazy. Just nobody? Hell no, the grandmother, she like, oh, bring my grandbabies. While y'all go out there and make that money, get that career together. So Miss Rachel was just babysitting the I don't know, because I wasn't there. I'm just throwing out my own stuff. But it says that Rachel's mom name, okay, so we're just going back a little bit. I tried not to go back too far. I kept it just a little bit. Rachel, the grandmother. Let's go to the grandmother right quick. The grandmother. Her mom was named Mary Pittman. And then her father's name was Allen Pittman. In 1900, Allen was 40 years old and Mary was 35. They had been married for 22 years. Which means that when Anne married Allen, she was 13 and he was 18. They had 8 children together and they lived in LaFleur, Mississippi. And Rachel was born in 1897. So, and when I went back another generation, I actually seen a repeat of that. A repeat of the next generation daughter being, I think she was 13 or 14 years old. So maybe that's why the grandmother, Miss Rachel, wasn't too, surprised about it. Because first of all, like Mississippi back then, wasn't they having babies really young back then? I don't even know. But then her mother got married at 13 to her father, who was 18. So, sometimes we don't always have the best elders to help us see things for how they should be and help us out with our future. Because the way that they grew up was kind of cloudy and stuff too. So all they can give you is what they endured. And, that probably was just hardship. So then they hand off hardship to you and leniency to you and go and do what you got to do. Just make that money. I wonder, was Miss Rachel, Grandma Rachel, that type of grandmother, she was just more focused on the money and stuff. Like, I wonder if that could have been her. But yeah, I feel sorry for Miss Aretha Franklin, because it seemed like she got dealt some bad cards and probably made to feel like that was kind of okay, or that's the way the thing should be, like she can have babies at a young age, and her family ain't gonna do nothing but watch them, but go out there and do your career and then lie and don't really say what's going on. And then for your own self, to get your own mind together later on, you gotta drink the pain away and make up stories about how you wish your life could have been because it was never that way. And I read some. I can't remember what article, and I don't even feel like finding it at this point because I feel like I done read too much. But it was either the oldest sister, Irma, I think it was Irma, the oldest sister, Aretha Franklin's oldest sister, who said, don't quote me on this, it was some movie. I can't remember if it was The Color Purple. Something keep pulling me towards The Color Purple. I don't know. It was some movie. She was supposed to be in the movie, and she was supposed to have singing roles in the movie. And even Aretha had said, let me see the script and let me see the songs, and told her sister, girl, you should do it. And then the father, C.L. Franklin, weaseled his way in there and told her, and then it says after an intervention, she bagged away and she didn't do it. But they never had the success, the sisters never had the success that they wanted and that they should have had, because I believe that they were made to watch the children, watch Aretha children and their own children, and focus on Aretha's career. So I actually think that was sad too. And actually the sisters kind of mentioned that in articles, that they felt like their career wasn't what they wanted it to be. Not that they wasn't happy for their sister, but you know, that make you a little sad for yourself. Let me bring Miss Berry on here. Hey, Miss Berry, can you hear me, girl?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just had to take that off. Let me remove this. Okay, let me stop sharing this. I took that off the screen. Go ahead, girl. So, what did you think of the movie? It was Sparkle. Thank you, Queen Taj. Oh, it was Sparkle. Oh, you know, let me say this. I love y'all because y'all come in here when I'm off, because I can only do so much. I'm trying to navigate 2 phones over here, people, 2 phones. And I can only, but thank you, Queen Taj. That's exactly what it was. She was supposed to be in Sparkle, the original one that was a hit in the first dang on place. And then the father weaseled his way on up in there and said whatever he had to say, that she never even did it. Ain't that sad? It's just all types of sad. Go ahead, Miss Berry, say what you got to say, girl.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I enjoyed this so much. I'm still waiting for some more. I'm just back here like, you know, like, first of all, let me say that Geneva, you did a remarkable research. You did what the movie didn't do. I did like the movie, but there were still things like when you watch something and there's an unanswered question there, to me, it's not a complete movie. Anybody who watched that movie and saw that little 12-year-old girl pregnant, you had to wonder who the father was. It would make you think it was the father, but then we didn't really know because he was cool with a 12-year-old being pregnant. And Sam Cooke, oh my God. When Geneva said that, I was saying, I might not even look at you the same no more. I mean, like, really? It was just bad to hear a lot of that too, because I'll share some stories with you guys later. Nothing of that magnitude. But it is different when you're a preacher's daughter. You have to live up to a certain expectation. You have to put up a certain flaws. You have to keep shit shut down behind closed doors. You can't open up and tell what you feel because that's a sin, or you have to worry about how someone is going to look at you or what's going to be done when someone's looking at you, because we in the preacher's world, we in the Christian world. But as soon as they get out of church, you smoking and drinking just like the regular person in the world. That's what really turned me against that type of image, because I am a preacher's daughter, but right is right and wrong is wrong. And a lot of what was going on in Aretha movie that we seen on Respect with Jennifer Hudson did that with Aretha. Jennifer Hudson got to spend time with Aretha before she died. She evidently told her story the best she could because she knew it was a time coming. That's why I said, too, I was remarkable to see it. But when you tell your story, you got to be open and tell the whole truth. And some things were quite, to me, it would have been embarrassing. And then, like Geneva showed about the oldest son who had the disability, you know what I'm saying? And the grandmama, if you looked on the movie, it looked like the grandmama knew everything that was going on. You know what I'm saying? Like she was co-signing. And no disrespect to anybody, but in the South, shit like that goes on real severe and real serious. They do that incest thing and like it's okay. But if we go back all the way, and I'm gonna try to co-sign for anything, but people have been taught what's supposed to be right and wrong. If you go from the slavery days up until now, they was taking off people's sisters, brothers, sleeping. Didn't nobody know who was kin to who because they was too busy selling off slaves and bringing them on different plantations. So you really didn't know. So some type of way these people got mixed up or messed up in their mind that it was okay. And I have to tell you, the biggest way to hide around a lot of sin is to be a preacher. Period. Point blank simple. And preachers are more crooked than you ever can imagine. I'm not trying to throw no shade at nobody, but I am a preacher's daughter. But I'm going to be honest with you, no disrespect. People say what they want, say what you do. I don't care, but it's what it is. I would not go to my father's church. See what I'm saying? You ain't going to help me go to hell. I can go to hell by myself. But I'm up in your pulpit and I see you preaching today and you drinking tomorrow and you doing the same thing I'm doing and you trying to say you going to help me get to heaven. I can't see how you can help me get to heaven. So when she was reading that, a lot of that stuff started playing back in my mind, how I was as a little girl and how certain things were. And then you get the hell beat out you on Saturday night, but then you got to go up in the choir and sing Sunday like ain't nothing wrong. I lived it. Not that part about that part with the sexual molesting and the preacher part of it, but the mental, the emotional, the abuse, the singing, trying to live up to people's expectations, you know what I'm saying? Singing how they want you to sing. If you don't, you get the hell beat out you. Like I remember nights when my dad would wake us up just like they did Aretha, make you sing. I'm like, what the hell am I singing for? I ain't singing for God. But those kind of things happen. And now when they do stories and stuff, it should be that we should be able to ask questions. And just like Geneva did that research, she broke down more this movie than was in the movie to break down, which answered a lot more questions than me, because I really would have been lost. And the whole time I was just up here like, damn, you know, just looking, you know, trying to understand for myself. So to Jennifer Hudson, much love. I think she did a good job. I think though, to me, seeing Jennifer Hudson, like Jennifer Hudson knew the truth. You know, a little 12-year-old girl wasn't supposed to get pregnant, all these things you planned. And I know that had to be resulting in her mind. If you were a mother and you playing that role and then you seeing where this little girl is 12 years old, it's supposed to be me and I'm pregnant. And then you got to know Aretha told her more than what we should know. So let's play games. And the first thing, let's don't play games. The first thing when I see things like that, I ask questions. So see what Geneva did. She turned around, she stopped and she asked questions. It was something that Geneva said about Chad spoke out, and I wanted to say something about it. He said something in the movie, Geneva, and you said Chad mentioned it. I had an answer for that. Do you remember what that was?
Yep, that Chad had mentioned that Aretha had married a guy after her abusive husband that was really nice to her. And I didn't know if it was her last son's father or was it old boy from A Different World who played as the colonel.
That one.
Oh, that's who it was? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So he was really nice to her, but by that time she had been affected by so much that she didn't even know what to do with that.
Correct. She had been. See what women we gotta realize is too, going through things like that. She had so many bad men. She didn't know a good man when she had one. But if you don't have so many bad men, you should damn sure know a good one when it hits your face. But living in the world that she lived in, just thinking it's okay to be pregnant at 12 years old. She had no existence of her own stuff. She didn't know who she was because she was too buried down. And let me tell you, as a preacher's daughter, you live in they space. You live in their reflection. You live in their world. You see what I'm saying? You are their world until you step out there. When you sing, you really ain't singing for God. You sing it because they want you to sing what they want you to sing. So I can even imagine some of the mental abuse that she went through just by herself trying to get out that world. And 6 kids, 6 of her children, or I think it was 6, Geneva said, and all these children, 4, played a part in her life some type of way, but all of it was by abuse of men, some type of way that made her could remember or reflect on that abuse. And I hate to see men play parts like that. I know it's just a movie, but it damn sure made me look at men. Even Marlon Wayne, Dwayne, the dude, the abusive husband. I like dude, but dude, you played that role. And people, when you play them roles, and I see you play them, I think some of that shit's in you. Point blank, period, simple. I just feel that way because you played it too good. And hands off to the people who did it and how y'all did everything. But there are still questions that people want to know. There are still truth to be told. Now, Aretha, God bless her, because she was the queen of soul. She's lived her life. She's made her mark for us. I thank you for giving Jennifer the opportunity to do respect. But, you know, there was a lot of things and dark demons that she was going through herself. And if anybody watched the movie, and no, I'm not trying to disrespect anybody, you would have thought that her daddy was molesting her some kind of way. You would have thought that that happened some type of way, because in the South, I'm just saying, I've seen that myself, that my kin folks tried to come at me, and I was like, yo, it's time to come get me. We ain't doing shit like this. So it exists. It's just, if you want to be truthful with yourself, then just, I want to say, like, hearing Geneva break this down, seeing Geneva when she read books, listening to how she express it, listening to how people tell their truth, it just helps me know now how to write more and don't be ashamed of my truth, because there's a hell of a lot of stuff that went on in my past, and I ashamed to a degree, but the only way you can change it and make a difference is someone's world, life, or position. If you tell your story, you tell your truth, because to me, if one person hears your truth, if one person sees that, then it's more for them to understand you, and it's more for you to have an outlet. Because you could tell people all day, but it's something just about, I believe when Aretha told her story, she took a breath of fresh air, and she left this world. Because you got to realize this was already in existence before Aretha even left the world with Jennifer. Go, boo.
Absolutely. I want to read this. Somebody did ask me about the mother. It says that the mother died from a heart attack at 34 years old. This is what the sister Irma said. Remember the oldest sister Irma? And this is in VanityFair.com. It says, we were all devastated, Aretha sisters Irma told Ritz. My parents' relationship was stormy, and my father had a violent temper. I'd also be lying if I didn't admit that we certainly knew about my father's reputation as a ladies' man. We saw how women in church literally threw themselves at him. After I became older, I saw for myself that he availed himself of many of those women. In 2018, Aretha told NPR's Terry Gross, I never discussed it with him, and he never discussed that sort of thing with his children. But as children, we could certainly see that women were kind of aggressively taken off behind him. He was single at the time, and sometimes you might see it with ladies sitting on the front row, a little high, skirts a little high, a little short, you know, when women are interested. Though the family still visited Barbara, the mother, the move broke Aretha's little heart. According to Aretha's brother Cecil, in the book version of Respect, I think mother's move impacted Aretha more than anyone, said her sister Carolyn, the younger sister. Aretha was a severely shy and withdrawn child who was especially close to her mother. Aretha and I shared a room, and after mother left, I saw her cry her eyes out for days at a time. Days before those trips to see mother, Aretha would have her little bags packed and ready to go. Oh, yeah, I bet that was devastating. But they said when Aretha was 10, her mother died suddenly from a heart attack in Queens, New York. It says the Queen of Soul added that she remembered how she sat in tears for a long time after returning from her mother's burial. So yeah, that's what it says about that. And yeah, I agree too. Someone said that these stories happen all the time. You know, Mississippi stuff, your grandmother, we found out our grandmother was 14, had 8 kids, 13 kids. You're like, really, grandma, great grandma had all them kids and stuff? But it's still really interesting. Isn't that like really interesting? Because in today's time, that's pedophilia. You can go to jail for that. So just to know that they were doing it back in the day, and right, and you think today a 14-year-old, that's a baby. A 14-year-old should not be running around having no baby. 12 should not be sitting up there. But yeah, I mean, like they were doing it, and yeah, and I don't know if some people were okay with it, or maybe some fathers, and I don't know, but it's definitely a sad story. What do you got to say, Miss Berry?
When you said that about Ray Charles, Geneva, I was like, damn. If Ray
Ray Charles
Charles knew it, he was
admitted it.
blind, baby.
Ray
Baby.
Charles
It was
admitted
all
it.
It was going all the way down, and a blind man can see it. When a blind man can see it, lies tell no lies, truth tell the truth. A blind man said it happened. It happened straight up. That's just like a crackhead. You see a crackhead, they on the street in the middle of the night, they say something happened, you better believe it happened because they on the street, they stand up, they know. And Ray, all he had to do is feel, listen, and smell. Ray knew everything that was going on.
True. Yes, Ray definitely knew and gave his opinion. I mean, but it's good to have some other insights on what was really going on in that church. It was some straight up orgies and stuff going on in that church. But there is something that I want to show y'all right quick, that some little videos that I found. Hopefully they don't mess up this video, whatever. But it's from Real Back. I tried to leave the people, I think they're all from Real Back, leave their information up here. But wait a minute, pressing the wrong one. And then share this over here. And I want to share this. Can you all see this? You all can definitely see it. Now, are you going to be able to hear it? That's a whole nother thing. Okay, let's try this again.
And whereas she's everybody's soul sister, therefore I, Jerome P. Kavanaugh, Mayor of the City of Detroit, do hereby proclaim Friday, February the 16th as Aretha Franklin Day. Aretha, on behalf of the editors of Cashbox and
Shoot, sorry.
February the 16th, Aretha Franklin Day. Y'all, we gonna have our respect day that day. Okay, remember that date. February the 16th. Wow. Geneva, your mic muted.
there's one unique thing about gospel songs. They always sell. There's no date on them. It's a church type of singing, religious type of singing. It has a universal appeal because it says something that most people feel, and most people respond to it because of its uninhibited expression. I don't realize it, but Aretha is still a gospel singer.
Okay, we're done. We're done with that. The reason why I wanted to play that is because for me, I needed to hear a video with Aretha Franklin talking back in the day. You know, because I was like, why is she like, why they got Jennifer Hudson? Like I said, she's so quiet. Aretha, you know, and then you listen to Aretha giving interviews from back in the day, and that's exactly how she was. She seemed very quiet, and like she could have been an introvert and shy, and you know, so I just wanted to hear her talk from back in the day, because all I knew was today's Aretha, current Aretha, R-E-S-B-E-C, you know, like that's all I knew. So I didn't know the younger her. So yeah, watching the movie, I definitely learned some things. So I can say that even though I give the movie a 5, I thought it was alright. Not really because of Jennifer Hudson, because she played her role. You know, she played whatever they wrote and they told her to do. But yeah, I gave it a fact. I thought it was okay. But I definitely learned a lot from the movie, which caused me to do my research, which is why I'm doing this video in the first place. What you got to say, Miss Berry? Wait a minute. I gotta. Wait, now why is she not?
I'm with myself. Okay. I want to know, on the movie, when the daddy was talking to Aretha and they was in the studio and it was that white guy, did you see when the daddy slapped Aretha? What did you think about that? Can't hear you.
You mean when the father slapped her?
Yeah.
The way she handled it, you know, because I thought that by her being an adult, okay, and you done been through everything, I thought that by that time maybe the words of her mother was gonna come in. Don't let your father. So I thought she was gonna say something, but she didn't. She was very like I said, just like she's scared, or scared, or just showing the utmost respect, because maybe that could have been, it was a Southern, I got to show my father the utmost respect. So even though he slapped the shit out of me and I'm grown as hell and he shouldn't be putting his hand on me like that, but, I got to respect him. But I thought that was something. I think that showed a lot as far as Aretha's personality. That's how she handled that. You just did it. And even the white man was looking at her like, really, bitch? You ain't gonna say nothing? You just gonna let him slap you? You Aretha.
I think she handled that very well. I don't know how it would be. I know how my dad used to do me in church and stuff, and it can make you feel very low. It brings down your self-esteem, and I think that is one reason why preacher daughters have bad labels to themselves, because you done been through so much as a little girl that you've been barred down and had to be in this perfect little world and this perfect little image that you want like the devil to come out to you. Just keep it real, because you have to reflect a certain image. And I myself as a preacher's daughter, I was my own image. You know what I'm saying? I live by what I want to. If I seen someone right, I'm going to say it wasn't right. Did I get in trouble? Hell yeah, I got in trouble for it. Did I get punished? Hell yeah, I got punished for it. But you ain't supposed to go tell nobody. You're not supposed to say anything.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, people do agree that they just felt like she was showing her father respect. Just the respect. Yeah, he still shouldn't have slapped her though. I mean, she grown as hell. You gotta, I mean, like she needs to show you respect. You show her respect. And then the reason he slapped her wasn't even because of anything super serious, because of the music or something, or she wasn't coming out. Like I don't even know. I don't know. It was just the most. Hey Ty, how you doing, girl? Yes, we are very early today. I decided to come on early.
Ty, we on the same time. Ty, we come on early. We on the same time.
We just wanted to. I just wanted to get it done. You said I'm at work. I didn't caught you at work, girl. That's what we do over here in this closet. You never know when we gonna pop up. But I do agree, Honey B3, that no, not Honey B3. Well, yes, I agree with that too. But when someone said the TV version, Deborah said, made it look like that she was having an affair with Martin Luther King. That's true. That is very true. Because there was a little part that I was like, no. Let's just skip right over that one. But that's very true. Like that's why I had to do my own research, because I had to figure out what was going on, because I just felt like the movie wasn't saying enough. And if I didn't know, if I hadn't, then I wouldn't have found out the things I did. So.
And I had to say, I don't know what them church folks do that for, because it was done to me. What you wake you up in the middle of the sleep for, so you go dance with everybody and sing with a bunch of drunk folks. Stuff like that just don't even make sense to me. But then, is it to make sense? So we even know why some of the shit that goes on right now is this, because look how it came from in the past. And it trickles up to the future, because you thought that this was the way to go. Because anybody even seeing or thinking something like that, you know what I'm saying? And you see it right in your face. It's different when somebody say it, but when you see it right there in your face, you can't be nothing but know it's the truth and live by it. I just thank Aretha for being such a positive person, giving us like spiritual and knowledge in her songs that made a difference within us respecting yourself. And if you go back and look at the movie and then you listen to her songs, and anybody, your songs reflect who you are and pretty much what you've been through in some type of way or another, and if you can't tell it one way, you can tell it through music. You can't tell it another way. You tell it through a book. And I've noticed that so many different ways Aretha's story has been told, but I know for a fact she did this with Genevas. So I would be really more inclined to look at this one and believe this one than any other one. Because I saw somebody say on there, did you see the autobiography? Did you see this? But it was somewhere it was said that she was in on this. Aretha hadn't spoke about some of the severity and things she had went through until this time here. And that was it. Because up until now, nobody knew about all them children. Nobody knew exactly how old she was. Nobody knew that grandma was in the house like that. And I wanted to say one other thing. Earlier when Geneva said something to those people, said what they said, oh, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't talk about it. Don't say nothing. Well, Aretha said something before she died. So who are you to say something now? We saw the movie as women. We want to say what we want to say. You can always go to someone else's page and have a nice day. But at least I know if Geneva's doing it and she's putting this together and did an investigation, at least I know I'm gonna get the damn truth out of it. At least we're gonna have paperwork. At least we're gonna have facts with it, and that's something a lot of bloggers don't have. So Geneva just pretty much where the questions need to be asked, and pretty much that's why I had nothing to ask Geneva, because I said, oh no, I'm gonna wait till it's here. She pretty much answered everything, and if they hadn't did the movie like the questions she reflected and answered, we may not be doing this video. And at any time, I know some bloggers gonna go back and kind of offset on what Geneva did. That's fine. If someone read the people see us, that's fine. If someone want to come back and reflect on something we said, then that's fine. But be politically correct when you come on Geneva's Closet page, because she did her research and there's paperwork to go with it. So you may not even know what's going on in your family, and that's fine. But if you really want to know truth, knock on Geneva's Closet though. She'll tell you the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
And like, for instance, Aretha Franklin's half brother that her mother Barbara had by another guy before she married CL Franklin. The only reason why I found those pictures was because I found it off of his daughter's page, Vaughn. I found his daughter Vaughn, and it's funny because Vaughn has some really good pictures on there that I hadn't seen before, and one of them I forgot to even show y'all. But anyway, so I guess since the movie done came out, people have been coming on her page questioning her about her grandfather, C.L. Franklin, and the things that had happened in their family, because she literally made a posting on Twitter. I didn't even screenshot it, but she was kind of going off saying, look, this is my grandfather, and I love my grandfather. I don't care what y'all say. I'm not going to go against my family for none of y'all. So y'all, so the people on here that feels a certain type of way about this video being made, well, look, it's a lot of people that feel a certain way.
And they said Aretha sold her soul. Yeah, people sell their soul. People sell their soul every day. You sell your soul when you go marry me and you don't love her. Blood money. You sell your soul. You sell your soul when you go just sell your body for a car. You sold your soul. So if that's your position of that, she sold her soul, she still didn't deserve the life that she was given. I'm not, and what is selling your soul? Because you look out in the world, there are a lot of people that sell their soul, if you ask me, because they're not even honest with themselves, let alone someone else.
Yeah, that's true. Israel said Aretha Franklin was not innocent. She sold herself out too. Yeah, now that's talking about the older Aretha. I like to take things back from where they begin, and that's the part of me that feels sympathetic for her. It's the young her, because the 12-year-old her was innocent. Now that one was innocent. The 12-year-old, she hadn't had sex before, and if she had not been put in this position and she would have just had a normal father, so let's say her mother would have passed away, but she would have just had a normal father and a normal grandmother, because she had a grandmother there too, and they would have just taken care of her and not had all that other crazy stuff going on. Ain't no telling how she would have turned out. Maybe she would have been a little bit better in relationships and things like that, and not did all the things that she did. So that's the part that I feel sorry for. Just like R. Kelly. A lot of people may just hate R. Kelly, just hate him and hate him and hate him and hate him. But there's a part of me that feels sorry for him. Probably not the older part of R. Kelly, but the younger R. Kelly. The younger R. Kelly that was molested by his sister. The younger R. Kelly that was molested by whoever else, and all these other things that happened to him that end up causing him to make the decisions and have the feelings that he had to cause him to make the decisions to do the things that he did. Because we all know that everything starts from somewhere. So yeah, people can turn ratchety and all messed up at some point, but it all came from somewhere. And if you usually take the time and check where that somewhere came from, it's usually your parents, whoever was the ones that raised you, that had you when you was a baby, that should have been really trying to cultivate that mind and the things that you did, and they did none of that. They did either what helped them or just whatever the fuck they wanted to do. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel sorry for the baby Franklin, Aretha Franklin.
I agree with you, Geneva, because I want to say, like, when you say that, and we can go into that later with me, but I realize it as getting older. Unless you really are in touch with yourself and who you are as an individual, then you won't even know some of the things that you do. So for instance, just I'll put out one. When I was abused as a little girl, my mom would not keep us in bathtubs. She would keep us out of bathtubs and wouldn't want to bathe us. That make me now take baths 24/7. Not really physically looking at that, But now I realize that's what made me be like I am. Not really trusting women because my mom abused me, and I felt like, damn, if she abused me, well, who won't abuse me? So that made me kind of back off from women because I had that trust issue. Because what people don't realize, whether you say it now, whether you say it later, things that you go through when you're younger, it will reflect on you when you get older. It's up to you how you decide that you want to deal with it. And some of us, especially us as Black women, we carry a load so strongly and so deeply because of everything that we went through that we like shut down because it's not okay to say it, or it's not okay to admit it, or we don't want to talk about abuse, or we don't want to talk about mental illness, or we don't want to talk about things that we've seen in our past and we want to question them. It's okay to question them. It's okay to, wonder. It's okay to sometimes fall short, because if you are so much strong all the time, you know what I'm saying? Somewhere along the line, that's going to break you. Because I see a lot of women say, oh, girl, when my husband beat me up, it didn't bother me. If it didn't bother you, never would have said anything about it. Yet I've gone through a lot of things and I've gotten through a lot of things. I can tell you some of who I am reflect who I was in the past and the things I went through, whether it made me good, whether it made me bad or indifference. The things I went through in the past has made me the person that I am. And people who come in your past and do things to you or show you certain things, you're going to think about that. And I think too, by Jennifer Hudson, how her father treated her, as a little girl. She might say, is this how a man's supposed to treat me as a woman? So she was all right with him slapping the hell out of her in the middle of somebody, or talking to her, or downgrading her. Those are things that I don't accept. Those are things that I won't accept. Those are things that I don't let my son do. But everybody got their background and their truth to tell. I just know now, when I watched that story, it reminded me so many things of me as a person, an individual, where I grew up in an abusive home and I stayed silent for so long. But I can't say, you guys too, I'm still in the middle of writing my book, and it's going to tell my whole journey. And certain things I had to stop back on, like, damn, do I really want to tell that? Dang, do I really want to tell the truth? My truth is my freedom. My truth is my voice. My truth is who I am as an individual, and no one can tell your truth better than you. And sometimes, because of how we have grew up, just like people are gay, they say, oh, we ain't supposed to say that, because of how people looked at them in the past. I judge no one, because I can't help you get into heaven. But what I can say right now, today, on this earth, how things are, I want to be able to make a difference, and I want to be able to make a change. And even with Aretha's story, no matter what we say or what we seen on that screen, I know, all of us know that Aretha as a woman played a part in all of our lives as Black women, and then to hear her story and then to see her strength and still see her endure through it. My hats go off to the queen and a lot of the queens that we grew up on. And, if you really go back and y'all do y'all research on a lot of blues singers and singers, individuals themselves, they're gospel singers. A lot of people started in the church. That's just the way that it was. We started in the church, and you'll end back up where you started at. Because if you go back and look at her movie, her biggest hit was Amazing Grace. So she had to go back to her roots to really find out who she was, and a woman, and an individual, and a Christian, and pray to God, hopefully that, she made it to a better place and her family is at peace. And, all I can say is that if you guys know something else that you want to put a comment and reflect on what Geneva has talked about, please do so. But right now, what she has put there, and if you go back and watch the movie, a lot of your questions that would have not been answered, if you watch this video and then you go watch the movie now, it can be answered and it makes a little bit more sense. So I just say that as a person in general.
That's absolute mundo. Hey, everybody that's joining us, that have joined us, that was here and then had to leave, because I know we are early today. We shoot, I'm early today. We don't normally come on this early, but we had to do what we had to do, people. But the good thing about it is that it's done. And now I'm done. Okay. And there's a few things. Look at Miss Berry. She in the background. Hey. And there's a few things that I wanted to mention that I
I said,
can't
y'all
get
hear that
done.
music? Let's do that. Y'all hear that music? That hey.
Get
Okay, go.
it. Get it. And there's a few things. Oh my God. I feel like my lips is. I got to get my. There's a few things I wanted to mention. Lord, I got to get up for a second. I got to get my lip gloss. I got to get. Where's the lip gloss? I got to find it. Lord, I didn't even feel like getting
Well,
up.
I be doing it too. Y'all know she need to go. Hey, I understand, baby. We got to do that no matter what. Again,
Didn't feel like
guys,
getting up.
I like coming on here daytime. We like popping off. We on the same time now, so it's a little bit better for me and Geneva. We get it up there, get it out. Cause 5 o'clock we be the 8 chilled out. Nobody want to be on this mic like this. Y'all might catch us on the mic more now, cause we coming on earlier. So just stay tuned and be encouraged. And like, hopefully, if you guys want something we want to talk about, we come on that mic and do it. Yeah. And look how she encouraged people. Y'all see my dress? This me, y'all. This all my little dress like Geneva. I did my little locks. Hey, and I love it.
And ain't she looking cute too? She's so cute over there with her little right. And who could tell that that's like some little dress? Do that
Yep.
look like little locks? That don't look like locks, Bill. That look like she just got her little curly thing over there. She's just the cutest thing.
Oh, I
And
love
then look
it.
at the outfit too. I bet it's just something that she just threw on, layered it up with the jewelry. Come on, come through, ma.
Yeah, I'm a dashiki queen now. I woke up one morning, some said, Essie, throw away all your clothes. I said, what? Throw away all my clothes? They said, just throw away. I put everything up. I got it packed. I took some to a shelter. I'm going to take some more. I'm just going to do dashikis now until I find what I really want to be in. I just want to feel my own groove now. I want to feel a little bit more who I am. And I like to be comfortable. I like to be cool. And y'all don't like to like dress up and stuff. That just really ain't me. But when I dress, baby, I dress now. But I ain't trying to get through like that. It ain't about all that no more. So and look at her with her little cute self, big old dimples and shit. Come on, my baby. Oh,
She said she want to see the whole outfit. She said, "Can I see the front and the back?" Come on now.
girl, you just gonna make it so how tall you want me to go, girl? I
Wait a
can't.
minute, let me put her on the screen.
I mean, like, what you want me to do? Like,
What?
like.
Hey.
You know, it's just a dashiki all the way down. It got a little split up the thigh a little bit. So when I walk, you can see that little thigh a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Little V-neck right there just show a little bit of the cleavage. Not much, you know what I'm saying? Nothing much. And just a lot of air can go through here so I ain't sweating. Hey.
She's definitely looking cute today. Definitely. Definitely. Baby Red said yes. Beautiful, love. Beautiful. Yes, yes. They love it. They love it. They love it. Anyway, people, wait a minute. Was she saying something we can't even hear? What you say?
Geneva's my damn inspiration. I'm telling y'all, ain't no way I would have locked my hair like this. I think I'm damn cute. You hear me? Girl. A pussy can't tell me nothing with this stuff. Baby. She was my inspiration for it, you guys. Just the whole vibe and everything. This dashiki thing, me, but like my hair look and stuff like that. When Geneva kept talking, I was like, damn, that must be really feeling good. And one day I sat and I locked my whole head. And it's still in the in-between state, but I love it. And this all me, y'all. So, yeah.
Yes, and it's the best hairstyle for you. The breeze can blow on your scalp. Ain't nothing better, black women. You know, when the breeze can blow on our scalp, because we ain't layered it up with another piece of hair. So, you know,
Woo,
we
hey,
ain't extra
girl.
wrapped it with a scarf, because that was my thing, was that doggone scarf. So yeah, it does feel good to be free. But we're gonna get off of here. Please look, make sure that y'all, if you are not already doing so, make sure that you are following Miss Essie Berry. Make sure you're following me because you know we have G and E podcast, and we will be on tomorrow, Wednesday evening. At what time? I don't know. I think 5 o'clock, Las Vegas time, really, boo boo, because me and Miss Berry on the same time zone. Finally, because I done moved from Chicago, Illinois, the beautiful cold state of Illinois. And what was I about to say? Yeah, so make sure that you are following us. Stay tuned for G&E Podcast. And since I did this live, because y'all know that I pretty much like to pre-record my videos when I'm doing something like this, but I think the next video I might just go ahead and do a live, because I have another video that I want to do that I pretty much already got set up in my phone, but still haven't did it. Oh Lord, oh there it go. She said, please do a follow-up on Mr. Steve Harvey. Now, what we gonna talk about as far as Steve, the only thing I can think that for us to talk about is Miss Margie. And it's funny because Chad just mentioned that yesterday or day before yesterday. He was like, you know what the people want? They want you to do that follow-up on Margie, because once you do that, that kind of closes the whole thing and you done pretty much did everybody. Like, it ain't nothing else to talk about. So I don't know, I'll see. Thank you so much, Miss Beautiful Taylor. Oh, we love you, Taylor. We love that you're here. Thank you so much, Taylor. I will totally consider it, because I still got the information in my phone. It's just the point of the articles. It's the articles, but maybe I can just get to it quicker and kind of how I did the Google searching on my phone. As long as I can do that, I'll probably be okay. Or get an interview with his old mistress. Look, Taylor, if you can let me know where she at, because I have reached out to her husband, as a matter of fact. I reached out to the husband or the guy that she was currently married to, and I can't find her. They didn't respond, but I believe in my soul that they seen them videos, and she definitely knew about that book read. But I think because so much time has transpired, I mean, like, what has it been, damn near 20 years, she probably embarrassed, probably don't want to rehash that. She done went on with her life. Ain't no telling what else she got going. She probably just don't want to talk about that whole Steve Harvey thing. But if she ever does, I'm here, girl. Terry Smith, I'm your girl. And Miss Barry is here too. We're your girls. Just give me a ring-a-ding-a-ding, however you choose to do it.
You know damn well that lady ain't gonna let her come on this mic. All that crawling and licking and touching and rubbing is so sensual. And I looked down and I backed up and I crawled over. Girl, you think that man gonna let his wife come on here and tell some of that? You know what I'm saying? It was a good book, but his dad was like, you did that for me? So y'all better think about it. We put her in the awkward position too, but it was her truth. It was her story. And it's nothing to be embarrassed about. You did it. You know what I'm saying? Because you had us all like, keep it real. So if she come on, yes. And I know people want to hear the truth. At least we know Geneva bring the truth. People saying that about Steve Harvey because they want to ask me about the bullying, how I got through it, how the hell I look like I look. And I done went through what I went through. Baby, you better know God. You better know him. I can tell you about, you want to look like this? When you done been through all this? Baby, you better check it. And you better find a friend like Geneva, baby. And you better be able to get on it. And you better be able to talk about it. And you better know who you are. So we'll be able to talk about that. And I'm going to do a few videos. And y'all make sure y'all follow us on TikTok too. I'm trying to get a little bit more out there. Do I want to get on camera every day? Hell no, I don't want to get on camera every day. Do you want to get on camera every day? I understand y'all want to see us. That's cool. But we still don't want to be on camera every day. But we will sometime. The next live, when we doing music, Geneva, they want us to come on live. And how we behind the screen, they want to see what we're going to do on the screen moves. Baby, we're going to break it down the same way. What's the difference?
Y'all heard what she had to say. Everything she had to say, I concur, basically. I agree. Ditto, basically. I agree with everything that she said. Wait a minute. Miss Berry said something. Oh, Baby Rare, they talking about that judge.
Somebody said that Steve need to be put to shame. He's already to shame. It's nothing to be shame about. This man is who he is. My book is going to tell a lot. Some of the shit Mary told me, he really should be ashamed about it. And to be blackmailing people about it, yes, it should. You got to remember, you guys, we ain't got to do nothing but sit back. God got the divine order to do what he got to do. It's all in his divine time. I think everything that I went through right now, I would not even be the individual that I am if I hadn't went through it. The people who crossed me, I wouldn't be who I am. The people who didn't like me, I wouldn't be who I am. The people who hate me, thank God you hate me, because I would not be who I am. And everybody's not going to have the same strength, the same knowledge, the same courage that I have, because you ain't Essie Berry. But if you focus, you know God, you'll know how to get it. I'm just telling you guys, it can be just what you should be. Because I have to say, somebody's been pointing out about people being bullied on the internet still after things that I went through. People who sit up there and bully people on the internet, or men who call women out their name, they punk ass people themselves. They ain't about nothing. They just men who sit up being abusive to women. If you find any men sit up and calling women bitches and all that, that's what they are. That's their inner source coming out because they know they're on the down low. That's just what it is. My thing is now I was able to myself show my courage, show my strength, get on this internet and say what I was, go in the courtroom and do what I had to do. Now I'm finna put it in a book and I'm finna school everybody like Scooby Doo. Everybody they're gonna be searching for Scooby snacks. I don't care who it is, mama, daddy, daughter, sister, brother, whoever I write about, it's going to be my truth. And unless somebody gonna take a lie detector test, everything in my book, just like Geneva just did, it's gonna be points written, paper, facts, and everything. Everything is in black and white, you guys. So until that, I want to say again, thank you guys for joining me, and thank Geneva for letting me come on here with her, because I was real anxious myself. I really enjoyed the live with her because she brought out a lot of positive facts. It's important now that we bring out things that's going to be genuine and mean something, and that will encourage other people to be open. And if you're going to follow bloggers, if you're going to be down with bloggers, if you're going to be on bloggers page, please don't get on a blogger page who lied and ain't got the truth and ain't got shit to back it up. When you got something to back it up, that means more to me than anything. And it should mean something to you, because that way you can follow the dotted line. Until then, love you guys. Oh, Geneva.
Yes, people. And if you like celebrity gossip, I don't know if you just like celebrity gossip, but let me just say this, and then I'm about to get off of here. I'm going to address a few things. I don't know if you're only into celebrity gossip, but I don't just do celebrity gossip. When I'm nosy across the board. I'm not just nosy with celebrities. I'm nosy with things, period. If something piques my interest, or I'm just like, anytime I'm sitting there and I'm like, all of them faces, that means I'm about to take my phone out and I'm about to start Google searching something. And the reason why I say that is because I'm about to hold myself accountable. I'm going to do this video that I was supposed to do back in 2020, because this video really was supposed to come out last year, but it didn't because I was procrastinating. But this is not celebrity gossip, but it may be something you might be interested in, because it has something to do with slavery and particular stores that we go shop at. A store that I know you done heard of before, but did you know that this store got some ties to some slavery and stuff, which made me think, is that how they got their money in the first place, to come up with all of these different franchises and stuff? Now, we done heard of a few places, colleges and other places, that was built off the backs of slaves and all of that type of stuff. But it's one thing when the research has been done and we already know about it. It's another thing when I had the slightest idea. I didn't even know. So yeah, I did one of them things. I started researching on somebody, and by the time I had got done, I was all in their ancestor stuff, and then looked up their whole family name. And so we're gonna do that video. So I'm gonna put the thumbnail up there probably today, because I made this thumbnail like months ago. And yeah, I'm probably gonna do that on, maybe I might do it, I don't know, because me and Essie coming on Wednesday and Friday. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out the day. But anyway, people, make sure that you also follow me. In addition to following me on Facebook and YouTube, you can follow Essie Berry too, on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure you follow me on TikTok at Geneva McClain. That's the last name, McClain. Yes, I brand the last name too, Geneva McClain. And you can find me on Amazon Live. I need to make more videos on Amazon Live at Geneva's Closet. And besides that, people, I hope you have a fabulous, wonderful day. But in the midst of that, and thank you to all the people that was in the comments section today communicating with me. Even the people that sat there, you didn't say none. You was watching me and Miss Berry, but you didn't say nothing. You didn't even comment or... It's all right. It's quite all right, because I do the same thing too. But could you at least like and share this video and subscribe to Geneva's Closet if you haven't already done so right here on YouTube? And you can follow me on Facebook at Geneva's Closet. And you can email me at genevascloset22@gmail.com. You all have a fabulous, wonderful Tuesday. And I will talk to you later, people. Bye. Adios.